Code Test B. You are about to begin part 1 of the exam, speaking and writing. Time allowed 77 to 93 minutes. Remember to put your headphones on before beginning this section. The course includes an extensive unit on climate change and require all students to read the Stern Review on the Economics of Climate Change, which was published last year. The course dwells into the science behind the issue, the challenges it poses to business and government, as well as a discussion on public solutions. The course includes an extensive unit on climate change and requires The course includes an extensive unit on climate change and requires all students to read the Stern Review on the Economics of Climate Change, which was published last year. The course dwells into the science behind the issue, the challenges it poses to business and government, as well as a discussion on possible solutions. The course includes an extensive unit on climate change and requires all students to read the Stern Review on the Economics of Climate Change, which was published last year. The course In the fast-changing world of modern healthcare, the job of a doctor is more and more like the job of a chief executive. The people who run hospitals and physicians practices don't just need to know medicine. They must also be able to balance budgets, motivate a large and diverse staff, and make difficult marketing and legal decisions. In the fast-changing world of modern healthcare. In the fast-changing world of modern healthcare, the job of a doctor is more and more like job of chief executive. The people who run hospitals and physicians practices don't just need to know medicine. They must also be able to balance budgets, motivate a large and diverse staff, and make difficult marketing and legal decisions. In the fast-changing world of modern healthcare, the job of a doctor is more and more like job of chief executive. The people who run hospitals and physicians practices don't just need to know medicine. They must also be able to balance budgets, motivate a Environmental problems. Environmental problems caused by hardcore rock mining. Rock mining involves water pollution by metals themselves, chemicals used in processing, and acid drainage, and sediments. Metals and metal-like elements in the ore are toxic and prone to cause trouble by ending up in nearby streams and water tables as a result of mining operations. Environmental Environmental problems caused by hard rock mining involves water pollution by metals themselves, chemicals used in processing, acid drainage, and sediments. Metals and metal-like elements in ore are toxic and prone to cause trouble by ending up nearby streams and water tables as a result of mining operations. Environmental problems caused by hard rock mining involves water pollution by metal. In recent years, there have been one or two significant happenings that have kept alive the hope that the deep sea may conceal strange link with the past. In December 1938, off the southeast of the southeast tip of Africa, an amazing fish was caught alive. A fish that was supposed to have been dead for at least 6 million years. 6 million years. In recent years, there have been one or two significant happenings that have kept alive the hope that deep sea may conceal strange link with the past. In December 1938, off the southeast tip of Africa, an amazing fish was caught alive, a fish that was supposed to have been dead for at least 60 million years. In multilingual countries, code mixing, the use of more than one variety in the same utterance or sentence, and code switching, the use of different languages or variables varieties varieties between sentences is common and natural. Despite despite its frequencies, or perhaps because of it, some scholars and self-appointed guardians of linguistic morality view both code mixing and code switching as a sign of deficiency. Linguistic deficiency. In 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 multilingual countries, code mixing, the use of more than one variety in the same utterance or sentence, and code switching, the use of different languages or varieties between sentences is common and natural. Despite its frequencies, or perhaps because of it, some scholars and self-appointed guardians of linguistic morality view both code mixing and code switching as a sign of linguistic deficiency. In this landmark account, first published over 20 years ago, the author argues that the ignorance and lethargy of the poor are the direct result of the whole situation of economic, social, and political domination. By keeping by being kept in a situation in which by being kept in a situation in which critical awareness and response are partially impossible, then the disadvantages are kept submerged. In this landmark account, first published over 20 years ago, in this landmark account, first published over 20 years ago, the author argues that the ignorance and the lethargy of poor are direct result of the whole situation of economic, social, and political domination. By being kept in a situation in which critical awareness and response are practically impossible, the disadvantaged are kept submerged.
Students must observe lab safety regulations at all times.
Students must observe lab safety regulation by all time.
It's the words of common occurrence that have different referential value.
It's the words of common occurrence that have the different referential value.
The office said Dr. Smith will arrive later today.
The office said Dr. Smith will arrive later today.
Student Services provides help with housing and transport.
Student Services provide help with housing and transport.
A study skills seminar is on for students who require assistance.
A study skill seminar is for the students who require assistance.
Any textual references you make should be cited appropriately in the footnotes.
Any textual references must be cited in footnote appropriately.
The research paper should begin with a thorough review of the literature.
The research paper should begin with the thorough review of literature. Paper should begin with the thorough review of literature.
The aesthetic implications of this study have not yet been fully explored.
The aesthetic implication of the study has not yet fully explored. The aesthetic implication of the study has not yet fully explored.
The inherent tension between these two features remains to be addressed.
The inheritance between these two features remain to be addressed.
Journalism is the collection and publication or transmission of news.
The journalism is the collection and publication or transmission of the news. This bar chart represents largest city worldwide for the year of 1950, 2000 and 2015. For 2000, 1950, New York, 2000, Tokyo, population has increased throughout the years. This bar chart compares largest city worldwide for the year of 1950, 2000 and 2015. The population is measured in millions. For 1950s, New York has highest amount of population, around 21 millions. In 2000, Tokyo has highest amount of population, which has around 23 million, while 2015 Tokyo has remained highest with 36 million, followed by Mumbai at 34. Overall, world population in major cities is increasing day by day. This bar chart compares largest city worldwide for the year of 1950, 2000 and 2015. The population. This line chart represents kilocalorie consumption per day for North America, Europe, Central Asia, world and Africa from the year of 1975 to 1985. In 1975, the consumption of European country was highest around 3,200 calories, followed by US, North America 3,000. Africa has least amount of kilocalorie over there. This line chart compares kilocalorie consumption per day for North America, Europe, Central Asia, world and Africa from the year of 1975 to 1995. In 1975, the Europe has highest amount of kilocalorie consumption, which is around 3,200, followed by North America around 3,000, while Africa has least amount of calorie consumption. However, over the period of time, all countries has shown increase in kilocalorie consumption, where North America becomes first, Europe comes second, and Africa remain at the bottom. Overall, all countries has increased calorie consumption. This pie chart represents injury location in various places, including home, work, road, and leisure and sports. Home, by far, it is evident that home occupies most vulnerable place for the injury with 41%, followed by road, which is 19.5. A least amount is others. This pie chart represents injury location, which includes different such as home, work, road, leisure, and sports. Home is by far the most vulnerable place with 41.4%, followed by road, which is 19.5. Work comes at 4th position with 50.2, while leisure and sports come with the 17.1. Least amount of injury can be located at the others and childcare and school, which is 4.8%. Overall, home is the most vulnerable place for injuries, which is quite surprising. This line chart represents population growth and projected population of Sydney from the year of 1976 to 2031. 1976, the population was measured in millions. The population was just around 3 million and 50 lakhs, 3 million, which has increased in 2000 around. This line chart represents population growth and projected population of Sydney from the year of 1976 to 2031. In 1976, the population was just around 3 million. However, in 2001, it has increased to more than 4 million, and it is projected that by 2031, it will cross the mark of 5.3 million. Overall, from trend, we can predict that the population of Sydney City will keep on increasing day by day. This line chart represents population growth, and this image represents three of the tallest buildings of the world. First position is occupied. First position is occupied by the Taipei 101, Taipei 1670, and Petronas Towers 1 and 2. And this image represents top 3 buildings of the world. First position occupied by the Taipei 101, which is located in Taipei, and its height is around 1,670 feet. Followed by, at second position, Petronas Tower 1 and 2, which is located in Kuala Lumpur, which has height around 1,483 feet. Third position is occupied by the Sears Tower of Chicago, which has height of 1,450 feet. Overall, we can say that these high towers are located in different parts of the world. This line chart represents manufacturing output in UK from the year of 1990 to 2007. In 1990, the manufacturing output was just around 100%. However, by 2001, it has increased to highest around 1,105%. But after next year, it has decreased. This line chart represents manufacturing output in UK from the year of 1999 to 2007. It is measured in percentage. In 1999, the manufacturing output was just around 100%. However, by 2001, it has increased and reached around 105%, which is highest. But in next 1 year, it is again plummeting and it's reaching around its bottom rock around 95%. However, it has tried to recover over the period of time, and by 2007, it has finished around 103%. Overall, there is fluctuation we can see in UK manufacturing output.
Milk is not typical of all monasteries for many reasons. First, it is very grand, which most, especially later foundations, aren't. Secondly, it was founded in the countryside, whereas in the 17th and 18th centuries, a good proportion of foundations were made in towns. Thirdly, it still owns a substantial amount of land, because fourthly, it lies in the Austrian Republic, the only European country where grand old monasteries have been in continuous existence since they were founded, 900, 1,000, even in one case 1,200 years ago.
The speaker was discussing Melk Montessori, Austria. It is located in Austria. It is grand itself compared to any other Austrian Republic Montessori. It is located at the countryside, where most of the 17th and 18th century were located in town. It has vast land of area. It also lies in the Austrian Republic, which all the grand monastery all exists from the last 100 centuries. Overall, this lecture provides a detailed information about the
a huge economic and social cost, and that cost is felt most acutely by the world's poor. Dr. Arnold has already given the staggering figure of $1 trillion US that's paid in bribes worldwide. It is an extraordinary figure. It's a figure that equals 10 times what is paid each year by donors in international development assistance. 10 times development assistance. And even this huge amount, $1 trillion, could be an underestimate because it's very difficult to capture a number of the more elusive transactions within the public sector that involve corrupt dealings, such as budget leakages and asset theft. Corruption sharpens income inequality and it impacts disproportionately on the poor. In many countries, corruption works as a regressive tax on household incomes. Regressive because it impacts much more on the poor than the more wealthy. Compared with higher income groups, lower income families pay a much larger share of their incomes in bribes to access basic public services, and their overall access to those services is reduced.
Financial flows, corruption. The speaker was discussing financial flows, corruption versus development aid. According to speaker, most of the cost is associated with the corruption is due to the social and economic. However, it is estimated that around $1 trillion is given in bribe and corruption each every year, which is 10 times higher than the development cost received by the development countries. Also, it is estimated that this is the rough figure. Main corruption can be found at the budget and leaking and the different parts. Also, most of the poor section is affected by this.
This is Hans Krebs, who in 1937 published a paper showing the sequence of chemical reactions by which energy is released in individual cells. It's called the Krebs cycle, which some of you may remember from your chemistry course in high school. Krebs is a wonderful example to me of how a scientist who is determined can overcome all kinds of human obstacles. Krebs' father constantly discouraged him and told him that he had just mediocre intelligence and would never do anything important in his life as a teenager. What Krebs remembers in his memoir, his father said to him, "You can't make a silk purse out of a sow's ear." And later on, when Krebs studied with the great biochemist Otto Warburg, Warburg also told him the same thing, not the same quotes, but that he had only mediocre ability and would never be a great scientist. And we all hear about how important it is for parents to encourage their children, but sometimes the children will go on to do great things no matter what we say to them.
The speaker was discussing Hans Krebs and his career. In 1973, he published his paper on energy and chemical reaction, which also known as Krebs cycle. Krebs is a wonderful example how to success in life. His father constantly discouraged him. His mentor has also discouraged him by saying that he has mediocre ability. However, if the one is determined, then children can do anything no matter what parents or teacher are going to say.
To which of our senses do all of the following words relate? Opaque, vivid, brilliant, shiny.
Vision.
In a recession, does economic activity increase, slow down, or stay the same?
Slow down.
In medical terms, are antibodies harmful or beneficial for patients?
Beneficial for patient.
Would a person suffering problems with their vision consult a biologist or an optometrist?
Optometrist.
Would fresh milk last longer in a fridge or in a cool cupboard?
In fridge.
Historians use evidence to draw conclusions about the past. Would a contemporary artist's painting of an ancient battle be an original source or a secondary source?
Original source.
What is the subject of study at a culinary institute?
Culinary. Cooking.
Where would you expect to find equipment like microscopes, Bunsen burners, beakers, and petri dishes?
Laboratory.
What is the name of the field of study that studies the human mind and behaviour?
Psychology.
A planet or galaxy that is very distant can be seen with what device?
Telescope. Space experts have long worried about debris. Debris might damage a spacecraft into hundreds of pieces.